All right, episode 3, The Queen's Court. It's a chess reference. All right, that'll be it for episode 3.
We have the eggs and the DNA samples. Will arrive in a few hours.
So we're really working with Biosyn.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know they'll be a good partner?
Building strong relationships is like playing chess. The Queen can't win alone.
What does Biosyn have to offer?
Unfettered access to every dinosaur on Earth. We share the profits with them, and they get to maintain their squeaky clean image.
Makes sense.
And
I
how
mean,
are
we
you
basically
so
knew
sure
this,
Biosyn will
so...
get that access?
Checkmate.
Blackmail.
Oh, who's a good boy?
I'm gonna get you, Smoothie.
You're a good boy. You're a good boy.
You always still don't know where Brooklyn is, or how to get to her, and if she's in trouble?
Ugh. She seems to be doing just fine and dandy without us. Darius, don't you
Okay,
think
so
that she
we
needs our
are
help?
gonna push this whole
Uh,
rift in the party
hey,
over
Gio,
whether or not to
any luck
help
figuring out where this feather came from?
At first,
Brooklyn.
I was thinking it belonged to a native bird, but it's far too big for that.
Trust me, whatever jumped on your car was definitely not a bird. But no one has made any feathered dinosaurs.
You hungry, Smooth Man? Sorry, Benny. You're the only one who likes those things.
Ben,
Someone could have made a Utyrannus.
Or a Sinornithosaurus.
Or an Anchiornis. Aw.
It's like a dino nerd academic decathlon up in here.
But who would bring back a feathered dinosaur? And why?
The broker had a whole dino-making factory at that lab in Senegal.
Yeah, but those were cloned from dinosaur species that already exist.
Okay. So that right there, right? This whole conversation, who would make a feathered dinosaur? The ones that we saw were cloned from animals that already existed, etc., etc. So unless this is immediately followed by, yeah, but what about Beckel, Spinax, and Majungasaurus and Atrociraptor? This is kind of implying that, like, most of the new animals we've seen already were already Mazrani clones. Maybe not the Atrociraptors. Like, maybe you can, you know, let that slide in this dialogue. But certainly, at least it would imply, like, the Majungasaurus, Kentrosaurus. Well, I guess the Kentra they would know from Manticore, so maybe they're counting Manticore in as well. But anyway, it's at least implying the Majungasaurus might have been a Mazrani era animal in this show.
This would be the first of its kind.
That seems so weird though, because, like, how do you rectify that, right? Like, they've seen the Atrociraptors. Like, if the argument being made here is that a feathered animal has to be a new species that's been cloned because they know everything that was cloned originally and they haven't encountered anything that's new until now, that really does imply here that, like, Atrociraptor is not new. Majungasaurus is not new. It's much easier to explain the Majungasaurus as just being another animal added to the canon retroactively than it is to explain the Atrociraptor, because as far as we know, those should be new, so I don't know what to make of that dialogue. I'm not sure it's well thought out. Well, it's still early in the season. There can be deeper explanations here for some of this. We'll see.
you know, when you said Malta, I thought we'd be basking on a Mediterranean beach, not lurking underground in some catacombs.
Bastardizing a historical site for their own benefit. How very Biosyn.
I didn't realize we were meeting with Dodgson himself.
We don't deal with middle management.
Ah, can you shoot lasers from that? I'm only kidding. That technology is at least 10 years away.
All right, we're keeping the minion characterization of
People don't
Dodgson.
like to come down here because of all the ridiculous superstitions. It's said these catacombs lead to an underworld of reptilian giants who kidnap people.
Kinda.
What better place to create my own dinosaur underworld? And it's directly below the Amberclave underground market. The dinos can be transported undetected, and so can I.
A market? Like a physical place
It makes
that sells dinosaurs?
no sense for the CEO to show up directly at the
Your
location, but
colleague isn't
sure.
aware you're here to take over the market? Nah, forgot my bag. I'm always doing that.
I'll get it for you.
Open time.
Decide.
Never mind the giant locust staring you in the face.
Who's Superstar? Superstar.
Brooklyn!
Hey Ben, hoping to get some intel about a Professor Desai. I think he teaches at your college. I know he supported Biosyn's recent expansion, but that's not totally weird. Got anything?
See if she needs our help.
Let's ask how she's doing first.
Maybe we should ask if she has something to say to us. Like, I don't know, hello, or I'm sorry for all the trauma and heartache I put you all through.
Come on. Let's get out of here.
Weird.
Brooklyn reached
Nope,
out
they're
to
making
me,
meatballs.
so I'm going to respond. It's weird because Desai used to speak out against that kind of thing. Why? What's going on?
Extremely incriminating. Don't send video messages maybe when you're partaking in covert action.
Not sure yet, but
I mean, a text
Might be
message is
nothing.
also, you know, just as traceable,
Don't
but at
worry
least your
about it.
face isn't in it.
No, how are you? Miss you, or even a thank you?
I think Brooklyn reaching out, it's the closest thing to an apology we're gonna get right now. Oh, we have each other, and she doesn't have anyone.
Yeah, she needs us.
See? Ben, Darius, and I think that...
Actually, I'm not so sure.
What?
I feel like it's very contrived to split the party on that. I just...
Fantastic. I'm still having issues securing that special land permit. The Valley's local regional counselor keeps getting in the way, so I want you to send your handler to...
Kill him.
Well, we tried everything else, so... now we'll try this.
Now is a time for discretion. We swayed Professor Desai to our side. I'm sure this regional councillor can see things our way by the same method.
You're probably right.
Stop right there!
I told you to stop using that thing. I spent good money training them with this. Help me move Red over with the other raptors. Dodgson has a new assignment for us. We'll discuss the details later. And if you dare lay a finger on Brooklyn again, I will demonstrate the other use these lasers have. On you.
Okay, we got some inner machinations in the organization here. So that little exchange there with the handler and Dodgson would imply that the handler works directly with Biosyn, not Soyona, and that Soyona and Biosyn's relationship is one probably where they're intending to use Soyona in the short term, not the long term, right? Because it kind of implies that they're looking... Dodgson's got plans to replace her eventually, which would make sense because she's seems to be an ambitious character in her own right, which would challenge Dodgson's authority potentially. So that might be where that's going.
He's just a baby dinosaur, and he's not going to curse you or humanity. I can't throw him out in the cold. He'd be all alone.
You are not alone. You need him too, no?
He can stay?
See.
Did you hear that, Smoothie? You can stay.
Terrible
I think
name.
that means Nona's starting to like you. Okay.
Well, that's unsanitary.
I'm gonna leave
Jeez.
Smoothie right here, where he can't get into any trouble.
Bro, you put him in a cook pot.
Be right back.
Why would you do that? He's going on the stove.
pipì in casa, no pee. Ah, I miei canaderli. Stay.
He's gonna make a run for it. I am free. Finally, these mammals. They will not bind me any longer.
He's outside? By himself? Oh, oh, no, no, no! He's gone!
He's been taken by wolves! He's dead. This will be the plotline for the next 6 episodes. We gotta find the baby. Is he gonna... So he's gonna put the food out. Smoothie's gonna show up, and he's gonna have a new pet. He's gonna be like, oh my god, this is my new cat. This literally happened to my family's cat. Somebody just fed it, and was like, oh, this is my cat now, and they kept it for like 2 years. Oh, not quite, maybe. They're playing, they're subverting expectations. Alright, they played me pretty good there, not gonna lie. Well, not every prediction can be a winner. Do you want a snack? A little bit more backstory stuff there. We got a little bit of idea of like what the situation is with Malta, the relationship between the handler Siona and Biosyn. So not bad. A little bit of lore with the whole idea that the other dinosaurs aren't really known yet, and that at this point in the timeline, the cloning of new species seems to be a novelty. Seems like our characters don't think it's happened yet, which has some pretty substantial implications. I think I'm going to probably treat that line as if they're not including the Atrociraptors in that discussion, that they're probably treating the Atrociraptors as, well, you know, a separate thing. But I think you could take that line to definitely imply that Majungasaurus is a Masrani-era species, which continues to add to the increasing problems with trying to explain the Masrani-era roster, which just directly contradicts the films. Well, what you gonna do, huh? The franchise doesn't really care that much about continuity between different films, much less between films and the shows. So all you can do is continue to put Band-Aid after Band-Aid on the lore. As a reminder, the first Jurassic World movie says there's 20 species in the park, 14 herbivores and 6 carnivores, and even in that first movie there's 7 carnivore species if you include the website species. So even the first movie kind of contradicted itself already. You probably just are supposed to assume that doesn't include things that aren't on display yet, right? But then, yeah, how do you explain all these new animals? You just keep putting them in the restricted zone. They're just, oh, they weren't on display. What about this animal? It wasn't on display. And this new animal wasn't on display. It's really sloppy. Like, why do they need that line in here? Right? They don't need the line in here being like, oh, new animals have never been cloned, or whatever they said. Just say that, like, nobody's ever cloned a feathered dinosaur before. That serves the exact same purpose of, like, pointing out how the Pyroraptor is special, building Dominion lore, but it doesn't pigeonhole you into trying to explain Majungasaurus as, like, a Masrani species. And, like, it leaves you more of an out, right, in film canon, if you just phrase it that way. So just phrase it that way. I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. Not a bad episode, I guess.